The signal from Earth. In the swirling heart of the Milky Way, the Galactic Council maintained their watchful gaze over thousands of civilizations. The Council Chamber, a marvel of engineering carved from a hollowed-out asteroid, housed representatives from the 17 most advanced species in the known galaxy. The chamber buzzed with the usual political maneuverings and diplomatic posturing, until Councillor Vexen, a tall, six-limbed being with crystalline skin, called for attention. Honored colleagues, Vexen's voice resonated through the chamber. We have detected unusual signal patterns from Sector 47, specifically from the planet designated as Earth. The mention of Earth drew amused chuckles from several counselors. Earth was classified as a pre-contact developing world, home to a species that had barely managed to leave their own atmosphere. The humans were considered primitive by galactic standards, violent, tribal, and technologically stunted. What could possibly warrant our attention from that backwater? Asked Councillor Morix, her gelatinous form rippling with disdain. Vexen touched a control panel, and a holographic display materialized above the chamber floor. These signals began 3 solar cycles ago. At first, they appeared random, but our analysis indicates a pattern, one we've never seen before. The hologram showed a series of pulses, mathematical in nature, but with irregular variations that seemed almost intentional. Councillor Dreth, an ancient being composed of living metal, leaned forward. Impossible. The humans lack the technology to broadcast such signals. Their communications are crude and limited to their own system. Nevertheless, Vexen continued, the signals originate from Earth, and they're growing stronger. Admiral Kinta of the Council Defense Force rose from her seat, her scaled skin catching the light. Is this a threat assessment? Not yet, Vexen replied, but something is happening on Earth that defies our understanding of human capabilities. The Council debated briefly, ultimately deciding to dispatch an observation vessel to Earth, nothing more than a routine check. The humans weren't considered worthy of significant attention. That decision would prove to be their first mistake. Dr. Elena Reyes stared at her monitor in disbelief. For 3 days, the array at the Arecibo Observatory had been picking up the same strange pattern. It wasn't a natural phenomenon. Of that she was certain. Dr. Reyes, her assistant, called from across the lab. The Pentagon is on line 1. Elena sighed. Word had spread faster than she'd hoped. Tell them I'm still analyzing the data. She wasn't ready to admit what she suspected, that someone, or something, was responding to the experimental quantum communication test her team had conducted last week. The test was supposed to be undetectable by conventional means, utilizing quantum entanglement to establish instantaneous communication across vast distances. It was never meant to be detected by alien civilizations. Before Elena could gather her thoughts, the building shook violently. Warning sirens blared as dust rained from the ceiling. What was that? Her assistant shouted, gripping the edge of a desk. Elena rushed to the window and froze. The night sky, normally dotted with stars, was now dominated by massive silhouettes, geometric shapes that defied human architecture, blocking out the stars as they descended. Those aren't ours, she whispered. Within hours, similar reports came in from around the globe. Massive ships had appeared over major cities worldwide. Moscow, Beijing, London, New York, Tokyo, hovering in silence. No communications, no demands, just an overwhelming show of force. The world held its collective breath, waiting. When the attack came, it was swift and devastating. Energy weapons rained down on military installations across the globe, targeting defense systems, communication networks, and power grids. The invaders' strategy was clear: disable Earth's ability to coordinate a response. What the aliens hadn't counted on was humanity's stubborn resilience and decentralized command structure. In the council chamber, chaos erupted as reports flooded in. Earth is under attack, Vexen announced, struggling to maintain order. The Draxians have launched a full-scale invasion. The holographic display showed multiple Draxian warships entering Earth's atmosphere. The Draxians, a warlike species from the Outer Rim, had been a growing concern for the Council, but no one had expected them to target an insignificant world like Earth. "Why Earth?" demanded Councillor Morix. "There's nothing of value there." Admiral Quinta studied the tactical display. "The signals. They must have detected the same anomalies we did." Councillor Dreth's metal form vibrated with agitation. "Impossible. The humans lack the technology to produce anything that would interest the Draxians." "Evidently, they do not," Vexen replied grimly. "And now we face a dilemma. Our laws are clear, non-interference with pre-contact worlds. But if the Draxians are violating that principle, the humans will be annihilated," Admiral Quinta stated flatly. "Their weapons are primitive. They cannot hope to stand against Draxian technology." The Council erupted into debate. Some argued for immediate intervention to uphold galactic law. Others insisted that Earth was not worth risking conflict with the Draxians. A few suggested that perhaps the humans had brought this upon themselves by broadcasting the mysterious signals. Meanwhile, the invasion of Earth continued unabated. Colonel Sarah Chen had expected today to be routine. Another day overseeing operations at the Joint Multi-Domain Command and Control Center. Instead, she found herself coordinating what remained of the global military response to an alien invasion. "Status report," she demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding her. "New York, London, and Beijing have fallen," reported Lieutenant Rodriguez. "Moscow is holding, barely. Tokyo is gone dark." Chen studied the tactical display. The aliens, whoever they were, had destroyed most of Earth's satellite network, but military hardlines still functioned. Reports were fragmented but painted a grim picture. Coordinated attacks on military installations, power grids knocked offline, and strange craft deploying ground forces in major urban centers. "What about our counteroffensive?" she asked. "Conventional weapons are ineffective against their shields," Rodriguez replied. "Nuclear options were considered but vetoed by what remains of the Security Council. Too many civilian casualties." Chen nodded grimly. "And Project Prometheus?" Rodriguez hesitated. "Dr. Rice is on her way to the facility now. If her theories are correct." "They'd better be," Chen interrupted. "Because right now, that's our only shot." The underground facility that housed Project Prometheus had been a closely guarded secret, known only to a handful of scientists and military personnel. For years, Alina's team had been studying unusual artifacts discovered in Antarctica, objects that defied conventional physics and suggested that Earth had been visited before. Now those artifacts might be humanity's last hope. As Alina's helicopter approached the remote mountain facility, she gasped at the sight below. The surrounding forest was ablaze, and smoke billowed from what appeared to be impact craters. "They know," she whispered. "Somehow, they know about Prometheus." The pilot banked sharply as energy beams sliced through the air around them. "Hang on, Doctor. We've got company." 3 disc-shaped craft pursued them, firing with precision that suggested they weren't trying to destroy the helicopter. They wanted to force it down. "The ridge," Alina shouted, pointing to a narrow canyon. "They're too big to follow us through there." The pilot nodded and dived toward the canyon, the helicopter's skids nearly scraping the rocky walls. The alien craft pulled up, unable to follow, but Alina knew they would find another way around. When they finally reached the facility, Colonel Chen was waiting at the landing pad. "Dr. Reyes," she greeted, shouting over the helicopter's rotors. "Please tell me you have good news." Alina clutched her tablet to her chest. "I might have something better than good news, Colonel. I think I know why they're here." Inside the facility's main lab, Alina activated a secure terminal. "The quantum communication experiment was a cover," she explained. "What we were really testing was this." She pulled up schematics for a device unlike anything Chen had ever seen. "We reverse-engineered it from the artifacts," Alina continued. "It's a quantum field generator capable of manipulating spacetime on a fundamental level. Theoretically, It could be used for faster-than-light travel, unlimited energy production, or a weapon. Chen finished. Elena nodded grimly. The signals we detected weren't responses to our test. They were warnings. Someone out there recognized what we were doing and tried to stop us. But someone else. These invaders, they want the technology for themselves. An explosion rocked the facility, sending dust cascading from the ceiling. How long until it's operational? Chen demanded. Elena glanced at the prototype device humming in the center of the lab. It was never meant to be weaponized, but with some modifications. Hours, maybe, if we survive that long. Chen's radio crackled. Colonel, they've breached the outer perimeter. Chen drew her sidearm. You've got 1 hour, Doctor. Make it count. As Chen left to coordinate the facility's defense, Elena turned to her team. Let's get to work. The future of humanity depends on it. In the Galactic Council chamber, the debate had turned heated. The protocols are clear, insisted Councillor Orcs. Non-interference in pre-contact civilizations. The protocols also forbid unprovoked aggression, countered Vexen. The Drexians are clearly in violation. Admiral Quinta studied the latest intelligence reports with growing concern. Something is wrong. The Drexian attack pattern is unusual. They're bypassing resource-rich targets in favor of specific locations. What are they looking for? Asked Councillor Dreth. Quinta's eyes narrowed. That's what worries me. Our observation vessel reports that the humans are putting up more resistance than anticipated. They've actually managed to repel Drexian forces in several locations. Impossible, scoffed Morix. Human weapons are primitive. And yet, Quinta continued, the Drexians are now focusing their attacks on a single facility in a region the humans call Colorado. Whatever they want, it's there. Vexen's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. We need more information. I move that we dispatch a full reconnaissance team. That would violate the protocols. Morix objected. The protocols, Vexen replied grimly, may no longer be relevant if the Drexians obtain whatever they're seeking on Earth. The Council voted, and for the first time in centuries, agreed to direct intervention on a pre-contact world. A stealth vessel was dispatched immediately, with orders to observe only. No one suspected that the fate of the galaxy might rest in human hands. Humanity strikes back. The situation at Project Prometheus had deteriorated rapidly. Colonel Chen and her remaining forces had established a defensive perimeter around the central laboratory, but it was only a matter of time before the alien invaders, now identified as Drexians through intercepted communications, broke through. Status report, Doctor, Chen demanded, ducking as another explosion rocked the facility. Elena wiped sweat from her brow, her hands steady despite the chaos around her. We've reconfigured the quantum field generator to create localized disruptions. In theory, it should disable their shielding technology. In theory. Chen raised an eyebrow. We've never tested it against alien tech, Elena admitted, but the principles should be universal. Quantum entanglement doesn't care what species built the device. Chen nodded. How big of an area can you affect? That's the problem. Elena replied. This prototype was never designed as a weapon. We can create a disruption field extending about 1 kilometer from this facility. Anything beyond that. 1 kilometer is better than nothing, Chen said grimly. How soon? Elena glanced at her team, who nodded in confirmation. We're ready now. Chen activated her radio. All units, fall back to inner perimeter. Operation Thunderclap commencing in 2 minutes. As the remaining defenders retreated to positions inside the laboratory complex, Elena made final adjustments to the quantum field generator. The device hummed with power, blue-white energy pulsing through its core. 3, 2, 1. Activating now, Elena announced, pressing a sequence of commands into the control panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a wave of energy, invisible but felt as a strange pressure in the ears, expanded outward from the device. Outside, The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Draxian assault craft, which had been bombarding the facility's defenses, suddenly dropped from the sky. Their energy weapons flickered and died, and the invaders' powered armor systems failed, leaving them vulnerable. Chen didn't waste the opportunity. All units, counterattack. Standard weapons only. Conserve ammunition. The human defenders surged forward, engaging the now vulnerable Draxians with conventional firearms. For the first time since the invasion began, the alien forces were in retreat. It worked, Elena exclaimed, monitoring the effects on her instruments. Their quantum-based systems are completely disrupted. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Great work, Doctor. Now we need to figure out how to deploy this technology globally. That's the problem, Elena replied. This prototype is unique, and it's tied to the power systems here. We can't just move it. Then we adapt, Chen said firmly. If we can reverse engineer their technology, maybe we can create portable versions. As if in response to her words, the facility's sensors detected new contacts approaching at high speed. More Draxians? Elena asked anxiously. Chen studied the readouts and frowned. No, different configuration. Either they called for reinforcements, or someone else has joined the party, Elena finished. In the stealth vessel orbiting Earth, Commander Lyrax of the Galactic Council's Special Operations Division watched the unfolding battle with growing amazement. Impossible, he muttered, watching as the primitive humans somehow managed to neutralize advanced Draxian technology. Commander, his science officer reported, we're detecting quantum field disruptions centered on the human facility. They've developed quantum suppression technology. Lyrax's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of profound shock in his species. How? They're a pre-contact civilization. They shouldn't have that level of understanding for at least another 3 centuries. Unknown, sir, but the evidence is conclusive. Lyrax made a decision that would later be scrutinized by the Council for decades. Prepare for atmospheric entry. We're making contact. Sir, his second-in-command questioned. The protocols. The protocols assumed normal developmental timelines, Lyrax replied. Nothing about this situation is normal. If the humans have indeed developed quantum suppression technology, and the Draxians obtain it, he left the thought unfinished. Everyone aboard understood the implications. Such technology, in Draxian hands, would shift the balance of power throughout the galaxy. Besides, Lyrax added grimly, I suspect the humans are not developing this technology in isolation. Someone has been helping them. Inside the Project Prometheus facility, the defenders watched in confusion as new craft descended from the sky, sleeker and more elegant than the angular Draxian vessels. Are they friendly? Elena asked. Unknown, Chen replied, weapons trained on the new arrivals. But they're not attacking, yet. A beam of light appeared at the facility's entrance, and a figure materialized, tall, 4-armed, with iridescent blue skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Humans, the being spoke in perfect English. I am Commander Lyrax of the Galactic Council. We need to talk. Chen kept her weapon raised. That's what all the aliens say in the movies before they start shooting. Lyrax's upper set of eyes blinked in what might have been amusement. If I wanted to attack, I would not have come alone and unarmed. He raised all 4 arms to show he carried no weapons. The Council has been observing your planet for centuries, Lyrax continued. You were classified as a pre-contact civilization, not yet ready for interaction with the galactic community. Recent events suggest that assessment was premature. You mean the invasion? Elena stepped forward. The Draxians are violating Council law by attacking your world, Lyrax confirmed. But more concerning is what they seek, quantum suppression technology that you appear to possess. Technology you should not have developed independently. Elena and Chen exchanged glances. The Antarctic artifacts, Elena said quietly. Lyrax's posture stiffened. What artifacts? Elena hesitated, then made a decision. Follow me. She led Lyrax to a secure vault beneath the main laboratory. Inside were objects that defied conventional human engineering. Curved metal components with no visible seams, crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with inner light, and most prominently, a spherical device about 1 meter in diameter. "We found these buried in Antarctic ice," Alina explained. "Carbon dating suggests they've been there for at least 50,000 years. We've spent decades studying them, reverse engineering what we could." Lyrax approached the artifacts, his movements suddenly cautious. "These are precursor technology, from the civilization that preceded all of us." "Precursors?" Chen questioned. "A species that achieved technological supremacy millions of years ago, then vanished," Lyrax explained. "Their artifacts are incredibly rare and highly regulated by council law." He turned to face the humans. "Someone has been helping you understand this technology." "Who?" Before Alina could respond, an alarm blared throughout the facility. "Draxian reinforcements," shouted a defender. "Massive force, approaching from orbit." Lyrax's communication device chimed. "Commander," came his second's voice, "the Draxian fleet has detected our presence. They're dispatching forces to our location." Lyrax made a rapid decision. "Humans, we face a common enemy. The Draxians must not obtain this technology. If they do, they will use it to subjugate the entire galaxy." "Why should we trust you?" Chen demanded. "Because," Lyrax replied grimly, "unlike the Draxians, I'm offering a choice. Help us stop them, and Earth will gain the protection of the Galactic Council." Alina stepped forward. "We don't need protection. We need allies. Equals." Lyrax studied her for a long moment. "Your species continues to surprise me, Dr. Reyes." "Very well. If we survive this day, I will advocate for Earth's immediate inclusion in the Council as a full member world." Chen looked skeptical. "That easy?" "There is nothing easy about what comes next," Lyrax warned. "The Draxians will throw everything they have at us. But together, we might stand a chance." What followed was the most unusual battle in Earth's history. Human forces, guided by Lyrax's tactical knowledge, deployed the quantum suppression technology strategically. Council stealth vessels engaged Draxian ships in orbit, while on the ground, a combined force of humans and Council peacekeepers defended the Prometheus facility. Alina and her team worked feverishly to enhance the quantum field generator, extending its range and effectiveness. With Lyrax's knowledge, they made breakthroughs that would have taken decades to achieve independently. The Draxian commander, a ruthless strategist named Krastor, recognized the shifting tide of battle. In a desperate gambit, he ordered his flagship to descend directly toward the Prometheus facility, a suicide run intended to destroy the quantum suppression technology at any cost. "Incoming," Chen shouted as sensors detected the massive Draxian vessel plummeting toward them. "Everybody out. Evacuation protocol Alpha." "We can't leave the quantum generator," Alina protested. "If they destroy it. If we stay, we die," Chen countered. "We've transmitted the schematics to secure locations worldwide. Humanity will rebuild." Lyrax studied the tactical display, his expression grim. "There is another option." He activated his communication device. "All Council vessels, implement Protocol Omega. Authorization Lyrax Alpha 7. "Commander," his second protested, "that would violate." "I take full responsibility," Lyrax interrupted. "Execute immediately." In orbit, the Council vessels broke formation and took up positions around Earth's atmosphere. Energy beams of unprecedented power lanced from each ship, converging on the descending Draxian flagship. For a moment, it seemed the combined firepower would be insufficient. Then, with a flash visible across half the planet, the Draxian vessel disintegrated. In the sudden silence that followed, Lyrax turned to the humans. "We have much to discuss." 3 months later, Alina Reyes stood before the Galactic Council chamber, the first human ever to address the assembled representatives of 17 interstellar civilizations. "Honored representatives," she began, her voice steady despite her nervousness. On behalf of Earth, I thank you for this opportunity. The Draxian invasion, while devastating, has opened our eyes to the greater galactic community. You were not ready, Councillor Morix stated bluntly. Your civilization has not yet achieved the technological or social development typically required for Council membership. With respect, Councillor, Elena countered, recent events suggest otherwise. We not only survived an attack by a technologically superior force, but contributed to their defeat. With Council assistance, Morix noted, and with technology derived from precursor artifacts, Elena acknowledged. But it was human innovation that adapted that technology, human courage that defended it, and human vision that saw its potential beyond weaponry. She gestured to a holographic display showing Project Prometheus's latest achievements, quantum field technology being adapted for medical uses, energy production, and environmental restoration. We don't claim to be perfect, Elena continued. Earth remains divided in many ways, but the invasion has united us as never before. We are ready to join the galactic community not as subjects or protectorates, but as full participants. Vexen's crystalline form pulsed with interest. The question remains, who provided you with the knowledge to understand precursor technology? Such information is strictly controlled by Council law. Elena hesitated, then decided on honesty. We had help, yes, not from any current Council species, but from individuals who believe humanity deserved a chance. I cannot betray their identities, but I can assure you their intentions were peaceful. Murmurs rippled through the chamber at this revelation. Admiral Quinta spoke next. The humans have demonstrated exceptional adaptability and resilience. Their unconventional tactics against the Draxians revealed weaknesses in technology we had considered impenetrable. There may be strategic value in their perspective. The debate continued for hours, arguments flowing back and forth across the chamber. Finally, Councillor Dreth, who had remained silent until now, rose to speak. I have lived for millennia. The ancient being's voice resonated through the chamber. I have seen civilizations rise and fall. The humans are young, impulsive, and unpredictable. But perhaps that is precisely what this council needs. A hush fell over the assembly. I move, Dreth continued, that Earth be granted provisional membership with full rights and responsibilities. Let us see what they can contribute when given the opportunity. The vote that followed was close, but in the end, Earth became the 18th member of the Galactic Council, the youngest civilization ever admitted. As Elena prepared to return to Earth with the news, Commander Lirax approached her. Your speech was compelling, he said, but we both know you omitted certain details. Elena met his gaze steadily. Some truths aren't mine to share. Lirax nodded. The Council has existed for 50,000 years, Dr. Reyes. In all that time, no species has ever developed as rapidly as humanity. It makes some of us nervous. Change often does, Elena replied. But consider this. Perhaps humanity's rapid development isn't an anomaly. Perhaps it's a reminder that the path of civilization isn't always linear or predictable. Perhaps, Lirax conceded. In any case, the galaxy has changed. The Draxians have retreated to their territory. But they won't forget this defeat, and the Council itself is divided on how to proceed with Earth. And you? Elena asked. Where do you stand? Lirax's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. I believe the universe rewards adaptability. Your species has demonstrated that quality in abundance. He offered a formal bow. Welcome to the galactic community, Dr. Reyes. I suspect it will never be quite the same again. As Elena's transport ship broke orbit, carrying her back to an Earth forever changed by first contact, she gazed at the stars with new understanding. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger, not just surviving but earning a place among the stars. The invasion that had threatened to end human civilization had instead launched it into a new era, one where Earth would no longer stand alone in the cosmos, but take its place as an equal in the grand tapestry of galactic civilization. And somewhere out there, Watching from the shadows were those who had helped humanity along this path, their identities still hidden, their motives still unclear, but their impact undeniable. The adventure was just beginning.